We have traveled all over Kenya and East Africa to find hard-working farmers.
We want to celebrate them while giving them the knowledge they need to improve their farms,
get better yields,
and become profitable farmers. We will see how farmers across the region can learn from experts and from each other in every way.
Join us and our experts on this journey
and share their families' experiences as they make these changes.
Karibu to the Shamba Shape Up Safari.
Welcome to Shamba Shape Up. We are in Vihiga County in Western Region.
And farming is the main activity in this region.
In Itando B in Sabatia sub-county, we meet Dick Morgan Ongai. He lives on this 3/4-acre farm with his family.
Dick Morgan has been a farmer since 2003. He grows a lot of crops on his land. He also has some animals, chickens, cows, and rabbits.
Land sizes in Vihiga are small, so if you want to make the best of your land, you need to use really good farming techniques to get the best out of your farm, as Dick Morgan tells us. Mr. Morgan, thank you so much for inviting us to your Shamba. And I'd like to start asking you, how big is your Shamba?
My farm now is just 3/4 acre.
Aha! And what do you grow in your Shamba?
Yeah, I grow so many types of crops. I grow bananas, I grow tomato, I grow sweet potato, green vegetables. I grow cowpeas, soya beans, maize, all legumes in fact.
Right. Yeah. Okay, great. What's the harvest like?
I know it is not good actually. I need some advice.
So, Mr. Morgan, what kind of technologies are you using in your Shamba?
I'm using one is push-pull. I'm using striker control management. I'm using CA, that's conservation in agriculture.
And the results have been good?
Yeah, when you follow the technology, so okay.
What would you advise farmers who've got Shambas just like yours?
Actually, I advise my farmers, farming is a business.
In every Shamba, you must face a few problems here and there.
Yes.
Which Shamba Shape Up can help you with? What problems are you going through right now?
I think my land it is having a lot of acidic because from my father, since in 1968, they have been just using DAP, 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 DAP. Also, the response of DAP fertilizer, it doesn't work. So that is the challenge I'm having on my land.
Let me go to the young men here. Do you enjoy farming?
So I really enjoy it and love it, and in profession, I think farming will be my profession.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Actually, I can advise my other youths, they should be happy doing agriculture, because when they do agriculture, it's the one way of avoiding idleness around thieves and other things, and they'll make food from there, keeping livestock and growing crops.
Yeah. Good advice, good advice. And Mama, do you help in the Shamba?
Yes, I do help my husband in the Shamba, because since he left employment, my kids were in nursery school, and I was worried because I knew they are not going to school. But since he told me there is money in the Shamba, so we started farming as adults. We have been eating from the farm, and we have been educating our children from the farm.
Mr. Morgan, we've heard you're quite an expert, but you're getting more experts.
I have to learn.
You have to learn. We have a lot to do with Dick Morgan, and I'm sure he has a lot to tell us. Let's get started. It's not easy to get good yields every season from your Shamba, and it is very difficult to get your farming right if you don't know how healthy your soil is. For this, you need to do a soil test. Because a soil test is so important, we have asked the soil testing team from Soil Cares to take some samples. Once we know how healthy the soil is, we can work on the crops. To collect a good soil sample, dig a hole 1 foot in your Shamba or take samples using a soil auger. Take a handful of soil from the side of the hole with your panga. Or take the soil out of the auger. Put the soil into a bag. and take more samples from about 20 different places around the farm where the crops are grown, following a zigzag pattern. Label the bag with your name, number, and size of farm and what you want to grow. Then, take it to the lab. The Soil Cares Lab is mobile, so it can come to you. Now we have the results. Timothy, I see you have the results of the soil test.
Yes.
Give us the results.
Yeah, Dick Morgan's farm, he intends to plant maize on 0.5 acres and soil pH is 5.0, which is low for maize. You need to increase your soil pH by liming with 600 kilograms of agricultural lime. Soil fertility, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels, and other micronutrients. Nitrogen and phosphorus are low. Therefore, you need to apply 85 kilograms of mare NPK 23-23-0. At top dressing, you need 20 kilograms of mare CAN. Soil health, the organic matter in your soil, that is adequate for your soil. However, to improve soil health, you continue applying compost continuously. Finally, the best crops you can grow on your farm are crops the family of tubers, which includes onions, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, and apply fertilizer only after analyzing your soil.
At what time should I apply lime?
Apply agricultural lime 2 weeks before rains. And the way you should apply is that wear gloves and then spread all over your farm. Then till your land, leave it for 1 week after tilling, then you can do the planting.
In Vihiga County, poultry farming is big business. Many farmers rely on chickens for their income. Dick Morgan has not ignored this trend. He's part of the chicken industry. But, as with all farmers, he has some questions on how he can improve. Dr. Richard from Unga is here to answer his questions. Morgan, how many chickens do you have?
I'm having 27 chicks.
That includes the chicks.
Chicks plus the hens. Yeah.
And what do you feed them with?
I get some feed from the Brodil or Agrovet, and also I mix the local.
Okay, so Richard, is he doing the right thing?
He's actually trying,
I'm trying to
but we need him to do better, to improve from what he's currently doing.
Yes.
So we want to have his hens divided into 3 categories: the chicks, the growers, and then the layers. The layers are the adult ones. So when the eggs hatch, they produce chicks, and then the chicks are supposed to be fed on the chick and duck mash entirely for the first 8 weeks of life. That's around 2 months. During that period, the immunity is very poor, and also they need a lot of protein to grow. So they are supposed to be housed in a house, not moving out, because if they move out, they get diseases. After which, he can now release them to move outside, feed them on growers mash. As they are moving outside, you can also supplement at that stage. The maize, kitchen leftovers, the sukuma wiki, you can start feeding them when they are in growers. But when they are in chicks, it's entirely on chick and duck mash. When they are 4 months, that's around 18 weeks, you should start feeding them on layers mash. Because by that time, we expect them that they're mature enough and they are about to start laying. So if you can start feeding them on the layers mash, it's okay. It helps them to produce eggs, a good number of eggs. Because if chicks are not well fed, they cannot produce many eggs. Yes. For easier management, maybe you should have 3 different houses. Because feeding becomes easier. When you have chicks in house A, you know that they're supposed to feed on chick and duck mash. When they graduate from house A, they go to house B, they are supposed to feed on growers mash. When they graduate from house P to house C, you know that they are going to feed on layers mash. And records should be based on each house.
Okay, so I saw some of them are very small. Do you think it's because of the feed?
It's because of the feed and also the breed. If you can get maybe the Kenpro, they can upgrade this local chicken to be of relatively bigger size.
What advice would you give him so he can make it a profitable business?
If a hen produces around 10 chicks and at the end only 2 survives, that's a very big loss. So the objective of the farmer should be to ensure that the chicks which hatch, all of them goes to maturity. And as we have said, one way of ensuring that is proper feeding. The other way is housing. If we house these chicks, they cannot be taken away by the predators, the hawk, the mongoose. They can also not get diseases, because when they are moving around, controlling diseases is a challenge. Also, when they are young, we have some viral diseases which he needs to vaccinate his chicken against, especially the Newcastle. Because if he doesn't vaccinate and then there's a disease outbreak, it will wipe out the entire flock. So for the enterprise to be profitable is feeding, housing, and disease control.
Yes.
It can be summarized into the three. Yes.
To make managing his chickens easier, Dick Morgan can get all his chickens to lay and hatch at the same time. This is called synchronization.
For the local chicken, we advise them to synchronize the time they start laying, the time they sleep on the eggs, the time they hatch. It becomes easier in record keeping, it becomes easier in feeding. It makes the whole management easier. Actually, it starts by programming the time they will sleep on the eggs.
Yes.
He can use 1 egg per chicken, it sleeps on it until all of them are ready to sleep. And then it brings in the eggs now. They sleep on them at the same time. If they sleep on the eggs at the same time, they hatch at the same time. If he takes away the chicks from these hens and raises them by himself, the hens will be out there moving. They will start laying almost at the same time. So record keeping becomes much easier.
As with any enterprise, it is important to keep records for the chickens to know how many eggs or chickens you're selling and how much you spend on them.
And I could advise him to keep records of feeds, records of the number of hens he has in the farm, records of the number maybe are sold, when he sold them, at how much, so that it shows the amount which moves in and the amount which moves out. So that at the end, when he's calculating, can be able to know when he's making profit and when he's not making profit.
Dick Morgan is a member of the Fargo Farmers Group and works as the coordinator. The group's main goal is to bring technology to his members and farmers in Vihiga County. And what better way to do this than to get the farmers to use their phones? Dick Morgan tells us a lot of farmers only use the red and green buttons on their mobile phones, and that is to call him. Today we're going to train him and his wife Susan to help other farmers look at other features on their phones, and we have invited Eunice, a phone expert, to help us.
Fun enough, most of my farmers, they don't text, but they normally call, or they say, please call me.
Morgan and Mama, I see you have your phones with you. What do you use them for? Let me start with you, Morgan.
Yeah, me mostly calling and SMSing to my farmers. If they don't SMS back, and then I have to call them.
You have to call them.
Yeah.
And you, Mama, what do you use your phone for mostly?
I use mostly to call meeting of the farmers.
They call you.
They call me.
I'm going to teach you how to use mobile phone, because sometimes you find that many people use it for calling instead of texting. And when you text, it's much easier and cheaper for you than calling. Now, like your phones, you see that some phones have different type of messages. There are others with an envelope which is opened, others the envelope is closed. So both of them, they mean the same thing. So let me start with your phones. I don't know which kind of phones you have, so that I can start to assist you. I see yours is a China phone, and for Madame also is still the same. We are learning more about the green and the red button. Instead of using red and green, you can use other buttons.
Mobile phones will define their menu options and buttons. But in general, the process of sending a text message to someone else's phone is pretty straightforward. From the standby screen, select Menu by pressing the right soft key. Scroll to and select Messages. Scroll to and select Create Message. Enter text. When finished, select Options by pressing the left soft key. Select Send. Make very clear that once you press Send, the message will be sent. If your inbox is full and you cannot receive any messages, you will have to delete some messages from your inbox. To delete, from the standby screen, select Menu by pressing the right soft key. Scroll to and select Messages. Scroll to and select Inbox. Select Options by pressing the left soft key. Select Delete, then press OK. If you get a text message from someone else, you can easily send them a reply by opening the message and typing in your response in the text box at the bottom. To forward a text message on your phone, select the option to forward the message. On other cell phones, the option to forward will probably be under Options or a similar menu. Enter the phone number to send the message to and click Send.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Morgan, you'll be able to tell the other farmers how to use their phones to send messages so that they can get information on technologies and information on so many other things in the Shamba.
We have advised on chicken feed and looked at how our phones can be useful in getting farming information. Welcome back to Shamba Shape Up. We are still here in the village of Itando B in Vihiga County.
We are shaping up Morgan's and Susan's Shamba, and there's still lots to teach them, so let's get back to work. Another area where Dick Morgan needs help is in harvesting and storing his maize so that he can stop losing a lot of his crop after the harvests. 1 Acre Fund has sent us an expert to give you some tips. Walter, you've had a look at the store.
Yes.
What did you observe?
The store needs some improvements and a few things to be done. Before the cereal, that the soybeans, was taken to the store was to be sprayed 2 weeks before the grains are moved to the store. And from my observation, that was not done. That's number one. Number two, the clean seeds have been mixed with seeds which are still not yet cleaned. And that's not right. You know, the clean seeds should be separate from the seeds which have not been cleaned. And then number three, we have the tarpaulin. Observed it still has some moisture and should be dry. It's like it was picked from outside, a thing exposed to water or rain, and then taken inside the store, which is not right.
Yeah, so how long are you planning to store the food that you've sold in the store?
Just for 3 months.
Just for 3 months?
Yeah.
So what is there a difference?
For 3 months is okay, but most cases we normally advise, if you want to store them the way he has stored them, in an open stack, you store for 2 months. That means you want to use it for immediate consumption or you have a plan for market already.
Right.
But beyond like 2 months, if you want to be safe, you must store them in an appropriate way, whereby you can avoid the pests, you can avoid even the rodents from attacking your grains.
Yes.
And this can be done by acquiring a metal silo or using hermetic bags. Hermetic bags is these are bags with 2 layers of polythene paper inside with a normal bag. The advantage of these bags is that if you store, you don't need to dust or use chemical to preserve your soybeans. What you need to do is once it's well sealed and it's airtight, then your cereals are safe. And the reason is that once airtight, the oxygen inside, if there are some pests inside, like the weevil or the large grain borer, they are going to consume the oxygen inside. And then because when they consume the oxygen, they produce carbon dioxide. And when they produce carbon dioxide, then they cannot not exist anymore because they need more oxygen to survive. So with time, they are going to perish. That's one. Number two, I mentioned about the metal silos. Why are they effective? You know, even rodents like rats have no effect because they are metal. And once you put your grain inside there, you can also kill the weevils or the large grain borers by introducing carbon dioxide. How do you do this? Once you have filled almost full capacity, you leave some space. And that space, you introduce a candle. You light the candle. Then when you light the candle is going to consume all the oxygen inside the cereal. And when that's done, definitely that means there's no oxygen for the weevils for survival. So they will die. Then what you should do is you should keep it closed for 2 weeks before you open it. Yes, if you open it before 2 weeks, then you're introducing more oxygen inside. But within 2 weeks, that period, all the pests inside or insects will have died. And your grains are safe.
Oh, great. Yeah, wow. So in terms of controlling the quality of the grains, is there anything that can be done?
Quality of your seed starts just right when you're harvesting from your shamba.
Dry the grain on a clean tarpaulin so you don't mix the dirt with the grains. Then, thresh or husk the grains without breaking them. After threshing, we know until there's no chaff or dirt in the grains. The clean grains are then ready to be stored.
Physical grain damage also damages the quality. It reduces the quality of the seed. So you have to ensure that when you are threshing, you reduce physical damage on the seeds. We also talk about the moisture content. If you don't ensure that your moisture content is 13.5 and below, and you should measure this using a moisture meter. I'm happy that he has one. Yeah. Your seeds with high level of moisture, they are going to start rotting, and with that rotting, it introduces what we call aflatoxin. It can cause cancer. And even at sometimes the levels are too high, it can cause instant death. Somebody can consume the meal today, in the morning, in the evening, that person is nowhere.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
Okay.
The best way is to use the metal silo or to use the hermetic bags. Yeah.
I can see we have a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work to do.
Okay, let's do it then.
Thank you.
We removed everything from the store and cleaned it. It was then sprayed. Remember to place the pallets away from the wall.
As we have seen, Dick Morgan is trying to build a successful chicken enterprise. Now, we know what to feed them. We need to fix his major problem, chicken diseases. His chickens die frequently, and this is not good for his business. Dr. Ouma, a vet from IWAF, has come to give him some advice on disease control.
Now, maybe you start by telling us what is Newcastle disease.
Newcastle disease is a disease affecting poultry, largely chicken, and it is caused by a virus, and it affects all age groups, the adult, the mid, and the chicks, but the highest mortality is seen in chicks.
So what are the symptoms of Newcastle disease?
You realize Newcastle disease first. You wake up in the morning and you find all your chicken dead asleep. You will see dead chicken. That's the first sign you'll see. And then if it is chicken that has been vaccinated before and you have had disease coming in, you'll see either the chicken are dull, you try to give them feed, they are off feed.
Morgan, have you seen these symptoms in your chickens?
I have encountered.
What did you do about it?
First of all, I was just wondering what is happening.
Did you lose any chickens?
Yes, I have to lose when I'm saying so. You go when they're already down.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how does Morgan and other farmers prevent this disease?
Since it's a viral disease, you can only prevent. So when there is an outbreak of the disease, he can enclose his chicken so that he avoids contact with neighboring chicken. He also uses some disinfectants so that he doesn't also introduce. Mr. Morgan, you go to your neighbor also, so you don't introduce using your hands or your body into the house of the chicken. You can also prevent using vaccination, Newcastle vaccine.
Where can we get this vaccine?
As an institute, we produce this vaccine and we distribute this vaccine across the country. It's called Avivax I2 vaccine. It is thermostable. That means you can use it for a longer period.
When a farmer buys the vaccine, he can keep it for how long before using it?
You still need to maintain what you call the cold chain. So Morgan, cold chain means you use ice until you get to the farm.
You talked about preventing the virus from spreading. Does that mean that we have to vaccinate the neighbors' chickens as well?
It is very important. Just like we compare with polio, we are having a polio vaccination, you have all the children also getting vaccinated. Here, if you don't vaccinate all the chicken, you will have the danger of introducing the virus again into your chicken, because Mr. Morgan is practicing what we call free range system, where his chicken moves to the neighbor. Then it means if the neighbor doesn't vaccinate, he is also in danger of still getting the disease. It's good to talk to your neighbor, and your neighbor talks to the other neighbor, yeah, so that all of you can do this vaccination at a go.
I want to ask you, how many times should I vaccinate my chicks, and how many times in a year?
Regular vaccination means you vaccinate your chicken 3 times a year. you only vaccinate healthy chicken. Don't vaccinate chicken which are already having the disease, because what you'll be doing is you are adding more virus into the body. Secondly, it is very essential that you cover all your chicken, the three groups, that is the young, the growers, and the adult.
Put 1 drop of vaccine in each chicken's eye and wait for the bird to blink the vaccine in. Vaccinate all your birds at least every 3 months and vaccinate local chicks when they are 1 day old.
Tony also led the team to vaccinate the neighbor's chicken. Nutrition is very important to keep the family growing strong and healthy. Giving your family the best nutrition starts at the market when you choose the food to buy and goes all the way to preparing and cooking the food at home. Remember not to cook vegetables for more than 5 minutes. The family made yogurt to balance the meal.
It's been a great Shamba shape-up right here in Dick Morgan's farm, and we hope that Dick Morgan has been shaped up.
It's been another great show from Vihiga County.
And we'll see you next time right here on
Shamba Shape-up. Shamba Shape-up is online. To learn more about today's topics or to watch any of our previous episodes, visit shambashapeup.com, select the episode and click play. You could also visit our Facebook page, Shamba Shape-up, to get more information, get involved in discussions, and also get a chance to enter some of our great competition to win great prizes. You can also find us on Twitter @Shamba Shape-up.